Hi there, my name is Lele. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is about how I became a millionaire by the age of 32. I'll be breaking down how I saved my first R1,000,000 while working a 9-to-5 job. If you're watching from any other place in this world, R1,000,000 is $57,000. This is how I'm sharing how I'm making my way towards saving my first $100,000. I hope this video and myself as a regular Joe will inspire you to start taking your finances seriously and to start saving where you are. So I have my notebook here. These are the detailed steps that I followed towards saving the first R1,000,000, and at the same time I was working towards investing that same R1,000,000. So the first important step is knowing your why. Why do you want to reach R1,000,000 and what do you want to do with that? And when you've established what your why is, then you'll know for sure how to move on. My personal why is I just felt like I was left behind in terms of where I should be in terms of my net worth. So you can check the median net worth by age and then calculate how well you are doing financially. So my why is very simple. I felt like I was left behind in terms of how much growing I could have made while taking advantage of compound interest. So I just realized I hadn't started investing in my 20s, so I wanted to have a big chunk that I could just throw away on the market while I'm still in my 30s and then never look at it until I'm 65. So I know I still owe myself my first property, which I decided would be my second big goal as I'm working towards financial independence. And then step 2 was I used the job I hate to get ahead. I don't hate my job, but I'm just speaking hypothetically. You might be someone that has a particular job that you don't really like. You might be working in a toxic work environment. Use that job that you hate as a way to get ahead. Just think about that figure. It's like, okay, I'm gonna use this temporary space that I hate to save. So with this one, I literally purged every single thing. I drew a crazy budget, especially for takeaways. So I was only allowed $4 on takeaways for a day. So I couldn't order anything beyond that, even though it's advised to save at least 20 to 25% of your income. I went all the way in. I think I was saving something like 70% of my income. Step 3 is the hardest part, supplementing my income. I realized that with the amount of responsibility that's already on my plate, it would take forever for me to get to this goal. So I supplemented my income and I chose tutoring. So initially it was to work on site, and I only worked on Sundays, and I worked a full 9-to-5 on Sundays. So that was the extra day of work, and my only day off was Saturday. And the center that I was working for got kicked out of the market, so I worked for an online tutoring platform. I need to add that this was literally intense on my body, especially with the working hours, because I'd leave my main job and then I'd clock in for evening classes. Then I'm taking a taxi, going to the student's home after that. So it was quite an insane type of schedule. Looking back, I wouldn't recommend that level of work, but you can maybe choose something light, like only having one evening class and giving yourself grace and a longer time to achieve the goal. So you can achieve what I did in 3 years over a longer period of time. The next step was figuring out my risk appetite. So how I calculated my risk is, now I've invested this amount of money. If I were to lose it all in a day, how many jobs would it take me? How many years would it take me to recover? So I decided on a fair 60-40 where I invest the amount in safe ETFs And then the other 40 would be the aggressive part where I run the risk of losing it all and it's okay. That was how I landed on my percentage of risk and how much I wanted that million to be invested and how much of it I wanted to be invested in a safe place and how much of it would be invested into something that's risky. I did it based on how long do I see myself living abroad, and if I lost it all one day, how many jobs is it gonna take me to recover? Work with a professional with figuring out this number. My main goal is to become my own financial advisor. It's taken extensive years of literally studying personal finance and watching investors, listening to what they have to say to finally get to this level of confidence. So if you're not confident, please seek professional help. The last and the most essential step is I broke down this goal into smaller attainable amounts. I made notes on my phone. This is called Millionaire Baby Steps, as inspired by Dave Ramsey. So in my Millionaire Baby Steps, I decided to first raise 50,000 rands, and that 50,000 rands is for emergencies. So it serves as my emergency fund. And how I landed on this number is if I lost my job tomorrow morning, that's paying for a flight and then sustaining myself for a little bit. And luckily, I have family to fall back to. If I were to ever get kicked out, I would simply move home. I wouldn't have to pay rent. So my number might be lower than someone else's number. In this case, I would always fall back to my parents' home, and then I can just buy groceries until I recover or until I find another job. The next phase of raising the million was saving my next 36,000. So with this 36,000, I wanted to max out putting the amount for that year into a tax-free saving. So I raised the 36,000 to get to that amount, and then I put that completely into a tax-free savings account, and then I bought ETFs from then. The next goal, this is when I had figured out how to invest. I started raising 120,000 rands. That 120,000 rands, I wanted to invest in the S&P 500. I just wanted to put a lump sum towards it instead of like working where I have $200 here, $200 there. And I had been watching how my portfolio was performing, how well the S&P 500 was doing. The reason behind this one is to account for the 60% and the 40%. So I wanted something that's guaranteed to give me good returns while I'm not risking on losing everything that I have. So I went for the S&P 500 for that reason. The next part of my goal was to raise 80,000 rands, and that 80,000 rands was towards the total stock market ETF. So it's not so much of a big difference, but personally, I'm an advocate for the S&P 500. The next part of my goal was to save 200,000 rands, and that 200,000 rand was divided between buying more of the S&P 500 and then also buying other single stocks, like other US stocks that are doing well, like reputable blueprint companies that have survived the test of time. You know them. I'm holding one in my hand as we speak. So I did that, and again, looking at the 60-40%. So making sure that 60% of that 200,000 is going towards the S&P 500, and then the other 40% is going to the single stock companies. This was now the milestone towards the first 500,000. Once I got to 500,000, I decided to reward myself. So I remember this was close to my birthday. I love watches, and there's a particular watch brand, and it's not Rolex. I wanted to buy myself that, and then when I went to calculate, I was like, this watch is so expensive, like 130,000 rands. So I was like, there's no way, if my net worth is 500,000 and I'm taking something as ridiculous as 130,000 and putting it towards a watch. So I decided, wait a minute, I know what I can do. Raise the next 130,000. From that 130,000, I can rather buy a risky, aggressive single stock company that I know for sure is gonna be my $1 billion. This is gonna be my $1 billion secret. These billionaires always speak about that one company that they bet their money on, and it turned out at 65 they have billions. I decided it wouldn't be 130,000 rands because it would take far too many side gigs and too many main jobs for me to recover that. So I decided to just choose a fair amount, because I know like Rolexes, you can get them from 80,000 rands. So I decided on 80,000. Okay, let's take 80,000 rands and buy this Rolex. But the Rolex is in the stock market, and it's not even Rolex shares. It's not even Rolex shares. I just chose one tech company where I'm like, I know you are going to feed the generations to come after me. Getting to that first 500,000 felt so great, but then after 500,000, I was stagnant for quite a while after that. Things got rocky. It was quite difficult, unmotivated. I would get big things to attend to, maybe helping family, but I just kept on going. Like, it started becoming a habit, like the habit of saving. So after 500,000, we now have 580,000, and that was the timepiece. Obviously didn't even turn out to be a timepiece. It was literally a single stock, and that single stock has been my golden stock in my portfolio. It has done so well, and I'm glad that I bought it at the time that I bought it. So it goes crazy and I don't flinch. It does this to my blood pressure, but I don't care. That's money that I could have lost. I could have bought my dream watch with it. So it's literally play money. So finally, I reached my goal, and it took very long. Like, it felt like it took forever. But I finally reached my goal in 2024, and I celebrated. I rewarded myself with a trip. As I was growing my personal net worth, I was also releasing the pressure from working so much or from not doing the little things. You have to remember to live in real time. So the first 2 years of aggression were really crazy, and it's abnormal because I was literally completely by myself. I had a group of friends, and I just walked away from that group because I had tunnel vision. I was trying to get to a particular goal. I was trying to learn how to be an investor. I was trying to learn how to manage my own finances. That meant the circle that I was in was not helping me in growing. So I was by myself quite a lot. So those 2 years were quite lonely, and I even made the decision to not even date, because how do you explain working so many hours to someone? Like, how can a partner watch you leave and go to a job and then come back from another job, then you're going to someone's house to tutor the kid, then you're taking another taxi to go to another house? So I didn't want to have to explain that kind of work ethic to someone who's probably achieved all of this and they are at their level. When you're still building, it's very important to be completely by yourself. And I was very principled as well. I was only watching content of millionaires, only millionaires. And by millionaires, I haven't even achieved that goal myself. I'm not a millionaire yet. A millionaire is someone that is a millionaire in US dollars. I'm still a baby based on what a millionaire should be worth. But like, these habits are powerful enough to help me towards becoming a millionaire. I hope this inspires you to take your finances seriously. I hope this inspires you to save, and I hope it inspires you to dream big as well, because I know $1 million sounds like something for the chosen few, but you can be amongst those chosen few just by deciding to take that step now. It'll get to a point where you don't have to work so much. When you've accumulated a certain level in your net worth, you won't have to work as much as I did initially. And I'm even watching that the growth is so gradual that something that I achieved last year is only gonna take me a year after that to get to the second million, and then the next million, and then the next million. Currently, I'm trying and I'm well on the way towards making my first 100,000 US dollars. So these are simply the baby steps that have taken me there, and I'm working in real time. I'm a perfectionist and I wanted to start posting about the first 100,000 US dollars by the time I get to it. But now I'm like, you know what? There's never gonna be a perfect time. I'm gonna find a new excuse that, the average net worth for a 30-year-old is 134,000. Then I'm gonna feel like I haven't achieved anything even when I get to that first $100,000. So this is me saying no more overthinking. We're on this journey together, and I hope you can start right where you are. Most importantly, your why is your why and your why only. So you might not be in a place where you have to support family, so use that to your advantage. My why, which is I felt like I was left behind, might not be similar to your story. You might be well on the way, you might only be 22 years old, you might be looking at this video just going into your first job. Please remember that it's okay for you to grow over 10 years as opposed to growing over 3 years, and it's okay to start at the salary where you are. But most importantly, please try by all means to find creative ways to earn more than what you are earning right now. Of course, if you're making a lot of money and your salary is above 50,000, then sure, that's a different story. I feel like we speak negatively about having to support our families, but for me, I think you can use that as your greatest motivation. If you don't have a strong enough why, then your passion and ambition might be affected a little. If you have a story taking care of your parents, everyone runs to you, that story would be far more motivating than just, I don't know, I don't even know when I'll retire, I don't care. If that is a strong enough story to motivate you to get off your bum and work and knock off your goals. Please, if you have a personal story that you'd like to share, please feel free to share in the comments section, or if you need clarification on something that I might have said, please reach out. And this is a space for people who have no idea where to start. And I don't see why I should work like I'm a crazy person. This is a space for you to change your mindset, because you can only be as old as you are only today. And after that, you've missed your chance of taking advantage of compound interest. It might be for someone else who's 40, who is feeling they missed the mark. Now 40-year-olds have to be worth a lot more. It's never too late. You can do a full-on transformation of your life. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope I've inspired you in one way or another. See you on my next video. Goodbye.